Hi, everyone. Today we are talking about the models of disability and the importance of understanding disability and loss when it occurs with our clients. It's going to be very important for us to understand the emotional toll that disability takes on our clients. Not only does it affect their functioning, it also affects other areas of life. It's going to impact their financial stability. It's going to impact their ability to socialize, and it's also going to take a toll on their loved ones, which in turn is going to impact the individual. All of these things will take, like I said, an emotional toll on the individual with the disability. It's just so much to have to cope with, sometimes in a very short period of time. Individuals with disabilities, whether they be congenital, chronic, or of sudden impact, are going to go through an adjustment process. The adjustment process, in the end, will hopefully assist the individual in finding a balance between their new self, their new identity, and the world around them, including relationships, barriers, things of that nature. When they do find this balance in their life, hopefully individuals with disability are going to place less emphasis on their physical appearance. They're going to be able to find meaning in new activities that are related to their existing functional level. Individuals who are able to find this balance are also going to be able to minimize the impact of their disability on their functioning, in that they are going to appreciate the abilities that they do have. I think this is a really important aspect of the adjustment process. The adjustment process in our text was described in the form of a stage model, which I think is very realistic and true. I can definitely attest to the fact that people do go through stages of adjustment, whether it be the person with the disability and actually their loved ones. Their loved ones are going to go through an adjustment process as well. The stage model of disability described many phases of the adjustment process to disability, beginning with the initial phase of shock. And shock involves a feeling of anxiety as well. It can be very overwhelming for a person to be diagnosed with certain disabilities. The next phase described in our text of the stage model is called defense mobilization. Defense mobilization involves a lot of bargaining on the part of the individual with the disability or the loved one. It also can reflect some sort of denial of the existence of the disability or the long-term impact. The next stage is termed mourning, and the mourning involves a grieving process for the functioning that was lost because of the occurrence of a disability. This stage may also produce a lot of fear within the individual with the new disability. Fear of the future. They don't know what to expect. What is going to happen to me? Individuals in the state of mourning in the stage model may actually internalize anger. They may blame themselves for what happened. The next stage is retaliation, according to our text. And in retaliation, the internalized anger actually becomes an outward anger, and it's projected anywhere it needs to be. This outward anger is because of a fear of dependence that wasn't there before the disability occurred. The final stage of the stage model was termed final adjustment. And in final adjustment, the person is able to accept their disability. They're able to accept their new identity and find meaning in life, and they can find meaningful activities that they're able to accomplish. This is an important stage to reach. Now, we need to remember that not everybody goes through these stages sequentially. Some people may skip stages. Some people may go back and forth between stages. This is going to happen. It's part of the process, and I think it's a very normal part of that adjustment period. Our text described many models of disability, as did some of the supplemental articles. I'll be honest, the chaos model that was listed in our text really didn't make sense to me. I'm just going to say that. Well, I really appreciate the sociological model. It basically places disability as a result of societal attitudes, prejudices, and barriers. It's not the individual, it's the barriers that society places is what creates the disability in anybody. I just wanted to mention one of the articles that was listed in the course content for the week. It was an article by Julie Smart. It was titled "The Power of Models of Disability," and in that article, she described the impact that the models of disability have upon the rehabilitation sector. According to Julie Smart, she stated that the models of disability in the rehabilitation sector will impact the definition of disability. It affects professional relationships. It impacts client resources, policy, and the legislation that occurs in our government. I thought this was a really interesting article because I never really realized that it would have that much effect on what goes on with our clients. All of these areas are going to impact the way we serve our clients. So what it boils down to is choosing a model of disability that is comfortable for us. For me, it is the sociological approach. I also, like I stated before, for persons with acquired disability, I do firmly believe in the stage model of disability. We definitely have to understand what our clients are going through. In our class discussion this week, all of our group members had something really important to contribute. So when talking about contribution, I'm going to start with Sylvia. She mentioned in her post the importance of understanding that every person with a disability, or no disability for that matter, has a contribution that they can provide to society or at the workplace or in their lives. So that is definitely something to remember. Both Tiffany and Allison talked about how disability can be misleading. Specifically, Allison talked about her hearing disability, how people don't seem to realize that she has an issue, and they might think that she's somebody she's really not. I was able to relate to Allison on this because of my visual impairment. I can't tell you how many times that I don't realize that somebody's talking to me unless they say my name if I'm in a group of people. I've actually responded not realizing that it was directed maybe to my husband or somebody else. Now, that could be really embarrassing, and many people don't even realize that I have a visual impairment. So I can definitely relate to what Tiffany and Allison were saying in that regard. And the final thing I wanted to talk about was something that Donalyn mentioned in her post. Donalyn shared her personal experience with disability, and she mentioned something that I think is really important for us all to remember, is that our clients have lives. They have people in their lives, they have things going on, and the impact of what is going on around them is going to affect the way they handle things. These other situations may potentially exacerbate the situation. Donalyn had a lot going on when her disability occurred. When my husband's disability occurred, it was on top of my existing disability. So I can definitely relate to what Donalyn was saying. We as counselors need to realize that people have lives, and we just need to remember that when we are counseling them, when we are making a vocational plan. It's just something we need to definitely keep in mind as we work with our clients. That is all I have for now. I will see you guys next week.